Hey everyone, this is Michael again, and welcome to the Monday Night Raw review. And tonight's Raw was from the AT&T Center in San Antonio, Texas. And this Monday Night Raw was the Fallout show after the Raw Rumble. And before I start the review, if you guys haven't checked out the Royal Rumble review, uploaded earlier today. So definitely go check out my review if you haven't seen it. Monday Night Raw tonight, I thought it was a decent show. I thought the first 2 hours were very enjoyable. The third hour, it wasn't, that good. And the main event ended up saving that third hour with Edge appearing. So yeah, we had Edge appear on Monday Night Raw tonight, which was awesome. And in that main event, it sets up, Edge going into WrestleMania. But I'll get to to that when I talk about the main event. But let's get started with the Monday Night Raw review. So Monday Night Raw opened up tonight with the winner of the Men's Royal Rumble, the 2020 Men's Royal Rumble winner, and that is Drew McIntyre. So Drew McIntyre came out, got a big pop from the crowd, and Drew McIntyre was on the mic. He ended up saying that he needs someone to pinch him because it feels like he's dreaming. Last night he won the Men's Royal Rumble, which he deserved to win it. He was my pick to win the Men's Rumble. And he ended up saying that he's going to WrestleMania. And McIntyre ended up saying that he doesn't want to wait and he's ready to challenge someone. He goes on and says he wants to challenge Brock Lesnar for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, which, we all knew. So McIntyre ends up saying that he's ready to hand out claymores tonight. So he ends up issuing a challenge to anybody who wants to come out and face him. So out came Luke Gallows and Karl Anderson of the OC. And both Anderson and Gallows wanted to face McIntyre. So McIntyre ended up accepting. But that was how the segment ended. But really enjoyable segment with Drew McIntyre. And it shows that, Drew McIntyre is believable. And, when he speaks, you believe, what he says. So I thought that was really cool. But very enjoyable segment with Drew McIntyre, the Men's Rumble winner for this year. And then we had, of course, the match, McIntyre versus Gallows and Anderson, 2-on-1 handicap match. This was just, squash match by McIntyre. He ended up decimating Gallows and Anderson. And yeah, Gallows and Anderson, if you all remember, are the best tag team in the world. Well, after watching this match and previous matches that they had, I'm like, best tag team in the world? More like best jobber tag team in the world, in my opinion. Because McIntyre manhandled them in this match. It was all McIntyre. And in the end, McIntyre ended up hitting Claymore kicks to both Gallows and Anderson. And he ended up putting Anderson and Gallows, two of them on top of each other. McIntyre ended up holding the both of them down for the pin count. So there you go. McIntyre ended up winning the match. But it was a squash match. Post-match, we saw Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar ended up came out of nowhere. Lesnar ends up picking up McIntyre, and Lesnar ends up hitting the F5 on McIntyre, takes the title, the WWE Championship, raises it in the air, and Lesnar ends up making his way out of the ring and, goes to the back. So it looks like Brock Lesnar is ready for McIntyre, come WrestleMania. I think it's going to be a decent, awesome match between Lesnar and McIntyre at WrestleMania. Maybe, just maybe, McIntyre will be taking the WWE title off of Brock Lesnar come WrestleMania. We'll have to wait and see. This is WWE. All in all, it was just a squash match. With McIntyre squashing Gallows and Anderson. Then we had Rey Mysterio. He ended up taking on MVP, Montavious Porter. So, but overall, the match itself, it was decent. And it was cool seeing MVP here. But my opinion, he looked so out of place in this match. I hope that this was just a one-time only thing for MVP, taking on, Mysterio here. And, Rey Mysterio got the win. And he ended up hitting the 619 to MVP. And, jumped in, rolled up MVP. There you go. Mysterio ended up winning the match. MVP, of course, did his, his ballin', which it's been a while since, we've seen him do that. MVP wasn't wearing those strips, if you remember, when he was competing in WWE years back. He always wore the strips on his nose, which, he didn't wear tonight or last night at the Rumble. But overall, it was a decent match between Mysterio and MVP. But to me, MVP just looked so out of place, in my opinion. And fans were chanting, you still got it, to MVP. But I say a one-time thing with MVP here is because, points in the match, he was moving slow. But overall, like I said, decent match. And then we had Aleister Black versus Kenneth Johnson. This was, 1 second match. Aleister Black won with the black mass. So Aleister Black ended up winning. Post-match, you had Aleister Black, and he got on the mic, said, last night he got eliminated in the Rumble. Aleister ends up saying that he takes responsibility, for being eliminated in the Rumble. He ended up saying from now on, he's not waiting for fights to come to him. he says that he is coming to pick the fights. So let's see who Aleister wants to have a match with. Instead of feeding him all these jobber local guys. Let's get Aleister Black in some competition here. But overall, it was a squash match. Let's see WWE give Aleister Black, competition here. Stop it with the jobber, local guys for him to face. So then we had Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy come out. Yes, Seth Rollins, the Monday Night Messiah. And they both come down to the ring. Seth gets on the mic. He says that he almost won the Rumble for a second year in a row. And he ended up saying that it wasn't in the cards. Rollins ended up mocking, Drew McIntyre. Seth went on, talked about, the positives in the Rumble, who were Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens, and they're not going to WrestleMania. And he ends up talking about how he and Buddy Murphy took the Raw Tag Team Championships from the Viking Raiders last week. So Seth ends up calling out Samoa Joe and Kevin Owens. So he calls them out and says, to get, that he wants them to get their asses handed to them by the Monday Night Messiah. So then Kevin Owens comes out. Samoa Joe also then comes out. And the two end up having, some words for Seth Rollins. And Kevin Owens was like, "Oh, Seth, what has happened to you? You've become, boring, the past, month." But Seth ended up saying that he told AOP to stay in the back in his private locker room. So Seth ended up saying that he has a camera crew to prove that AOP are in the back. So it shows that Eggman and Razor were in the back. They were in the locker room. And Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe didn't believe it. They thought it was just, like a video that was shot earlier in the day, and they thought that AOP was going to come from behind and attack them. But, it was live. It was backstage. So then we see the Viking Raiders attacking AOP out of nowhere in the locker room. So Eric and Ivar, the Viking Raiders, attacked them. And we saw officials back there. They were breaking AOP and the Viking Raiders up. And then we saw Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy weren't happy about that. So that's how the segment ended. But really liking Seth Rollins with this whole Monday Night Messiah that he wants to claim he is. Really liking it. Then we had Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy versus Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. This was for the Raw Tag Team Championship. Yes, it was on the line. And the match itself, it was an entertaining match. We had the bell ringing, and Seth Rollins ends up taunting Samoa Joe. They started off the match. Joe ends up dropping Seth Rollins. Kevin Owens ends up taunting both Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. And, at the end of the match, we had Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy win it. Kevin Owens ends up hitting the stunner to Seth Rollins. Murphy comes in, rolls up Kevin Owens for the pin count. There you go. Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy win the match. They still retain the Raw Tag Team Championship, which, which I knew they weren't going to lose. I mean, they just won it. So why take the titles off of them, that fast? So they're going to have a pretty lengthy run with the titles, Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy. So, but overall, decent match. And then we went to Humberto Carrillo versus Andrade Cien Almas. Rematch from the pre-show last night, where once again the United States Championship was on the line. And pretty much what we got was, what we saw last night. Back and forth between Humberto and Andrade. And, it looked like Humberto was going to, get the advantage to defeat Andrade. But in the end, Humberto ended up hitting a moonsault from the top, which was awesome. Goes for the cover, and Zelina Vega comes in, breaks up the pin. Match goes to disqualification, because of Zelina Vega. So after the match, post-match, Humberto ended up taking out Andrade. They go to the floor. Humberto ends up exposing the concrete on the outside on the floor. Trying to get some payback on Andrade for what Andrade did with with the concrete to Humberto. So the concrete was exposed. Humberto ends up dragging Andrade to the exposed concrete. He then delivers a DDT to the floor on Andrade. And, Zelina Vega is shocked. She's checking on Andrade. Andrade was passed out after that DDT. You actually could hear a little pop when Humberto delivered that DDT to Andrade. Looked like Andrade went, head first into the concrete. I guess his forehead ended up hitting the concrete. But overall, it's what we saw last night. Nothing new here. So Humberto wins by disqualification. Andrade, is still the United States champion. So there you go. Oh, and I forgot to mention, before the Humberto Carrillo Andrade Cien Almas match, we saw stills from Becky Lynch and Asuka's match last night at the Rumble, which Becky Lynch ended up defeating Asuka, retaining the Raw Women's Championship. So Charlie Caruso ended up interviewing Becky Lynch backstage. Becky ended up saying that last night made her really realize she's in a class above the rest of these dopes. She ended up saying that the next arse she beats will be because she wants to. not because she feels like she has to. So then Charlie Caruso ended up asking Becky about Charlotte possibly changing her. Becky ended up saying, "Oh, Charlotte, it won't be the first time, but it will be the last time." So then, Becky ended up turning around. We saw, like a picture on her coat of a goat, and it said the man on it. Looked really cool on the back of her jacket. It was awesome. It was awesome looking. It was a little decent interview with Becky. So and then we went to the Humberto Carrillo Andrade match. And after Humberto Carrillo versus Andrade, we had Charlotte come out. Charlotte came to the ring. She got on the mic, and she was out there to announce who she will face at WrestleMania. Because, of course, Charlotte, winner of the Women's Rumble, which should have gone to Shayna Baszler. And, WWE, they got to let Charlotte be in something, get another title shot. So why not put her in another match at WrestleMania for a title? If I talk about it again, I'm gonna get pissed off because Charlotte did not deserve to win the Rumble. Should have gone to anybody else. Should have gone to Shayna Baszler, in my opinion. Should have gone to anybody else. Hell, maybe Bianca Belair. It should have went to, but she's Bianca's in NXT, and it's Vince McMahon. He books this shit. He books how the way he wants the Rumble to go. You've seen all the NXT superstars that were in the Rumble. They got eliminated. So, but Charlotte, ends up announcing who she will want to face. And Charlotte ended up saying that she hasn't decided yet. So out came the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. Asuka comes out yelling in Japanese on the mic. And she ended up saying that she would have won the Women's Rumble if she was in it. So Charlotte ended up asking if that was a challenge. And we saw Kairi Sane and Asuka attack Charlotte. And of course, it was going to set up a match between Charlotte and Asuka. So we had the match, Charlotte versus Asuka, which not the first time we saw this. We've seen Charlotte and Asuka go, many times before. First time we saw them go at it was at WrestleMania 34. And really, went from there. But, Charlotte and Asuka here in this match. The match itself wasn't boring. It was actually a pretty okay match from the both of them. It was a back and forth match. In the end, Charlotte ended up delivering a spear to Asuka. Charlotte ended up going for the pin. Asuka kicked out. Charlotte then locked in the figure eight on Asuka. Kairi Sane Kairi Sane went to the top, and Kairi ended up delivering a splash from the top, which the referee ended up ending the match. So the match ended in a disqualification because of Kairi Sane. And then sorry about that, but I was saying, after the match ended in a disqualification, Cien ended up continuing to beat down on Charlotte. Charlotte ended up gaining the advantage and ended up taking out the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Cien. And pretty much, that was basically that. But very okay match from Charlotte and Asuka. Wasn't a boring match, but we saw them go at it before. Not the first time we saw Charlotte and Asuka go at it. Then we had the Street Profits. Oh, of course. Street Profits, they were, of course, a walking billboard, like always. Remember when the Street Profits were really awesome and we enjoyed seeing them in the ring, when they were in NXT, and now on Monday Night Raw, they're just walking billboards promoting, stuff that we're going to see. But they were promoting, Edge being on Raw tonight. And we saw Kelly Kelly. Kelly Kelly appeared, and they were exchanging some pleasantries, both Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins. Montez Ford noted that WrestleMania is under 70 days away. And then announces that the WWE 24/7 title is up next. I'm like, oh, great. Fucking great. The Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 title has to be featured on the show tonight. Great. Just great. So then we went to Mojo Rawley. Mojo Rawley was out. Came out with Riddick Moss, which, if you all don't know who Riddick Moss is, he is from NXT. So Mojo ended up cutting a promo about how he's actually defending the Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 title. So he introduces Riddick Moss for the first time. And then, which Riddick Moss got boos from the crowd. And then No Way Jose ends up coming out. And this was all during the third hour. So Mojo Rawley versus No Way Jose. Quick match, squash match. Mojo Rawley won. I went to the bathroom during this match. Did not give a shit whatsoever. But I'm going to go to this website here, read results for this match. And sorry about that, but just want to get results for the Mojo Rawley and No Way Jose match, because I said this was my bathroom break. So pretty much, basically, probably nothing happened. Nothing happened in this match. Yeah, Mojo Rawley won. Quick match. Then reading here, R-Truth was dressed like a hamburger, as he was part of No Way Jose's conga line, I guess in disguise. And R-Truth then rolled up Mojo Rawley. There you go. R-Truth wins the Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 championship once again. God, can WWE ever retire this belt? Please. They said they were going to retire it. I don't even know why they didn't do it yet. Everything with the Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 title needs to stay off TV. It does. How many times have I said, I feel like I'm a broken record when I talk about this Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 title? Keep it on social media. When it's on TV, it's garbage. It's fucking garbage. What is this? R-Truth's, what, 30th win with this title? Trash. Absolute fucking garbage. R-Truth is entertaining, but this whole Jobber Ninja Turtle 24/7 title garbage needs to get off TV. Belt needs to be fucking retired. So then we went to Lana versus Liv Morgan, which was a very meh match. Rusev and Bobby Lashley were banned from ringside, and Liv ended up starting the match off. She ended up pinning Lana. Lana ended up kicking out. Lana ended up taking control, sending Liv Morgan to the floor. Lana was, of course, running her mouth. Liv Morgan came back in, and Lana ended up hitting a big kick to Liv. Ended up going for the pin. Liv kicked out at 2. More screaming, more ear-shattering screaming from Lana. Then we saw Lana end up delivering a suplex to Liv Morgan. Lana ends up talking more trash. Liv ends up delivering clotheslines, and she then ends up hitting a bulldog on Lana, and then delivered a enziguri. And at the end of the match, Liv ended up winning the match, ended up hitting a flatliner, a springboard flatliner on Lana for the win. So you go, Liv Morgan wins the match in a very meh match between the both of them. But overall, like I said, very meh match. Then we went to Eric Rowan versus this local guy by the name of Braden Weiss. I think that's how you pronounce the name. This was just a squash match, jobber match. And Rowan ends up launching Braden Weiss out to the floor. Manhandles this guy. Rowan brings him back in the ring. Hits a running splash to this guy in the corner. Rowan then ends up hitting the Iron Claw to this guy. Stops the pin early. Rowan delivers then another Iron Claw to Braden Weiss there, and he went for the pin, and that was basically that. Eric Rowan ended up winning the match, of course. But jobber, squash match. And then we had a video package showing Edge's return at the Rumble last night, which was awesome. Got chills when his music ended up playing. It was a great moment, to see Edge, return and be in the Rumble. And Edge, read in the reports that Edge has now signed a 3-year deal with WWE. And he's going to be a part-timer, and he's only showing up, when he wants to, like if it's a special occasion. That's the only time that we're going to be seeing Edge. But it's cool that he signed a 3-year deal, and he's going to show up occasionally, for maybe special events. Maybe he'll have a match, at the Big 4 pay-per-views. Whether it be, WrestleMania, which I'm going to talk about here in the main event, or, if he shows up at, SummerSlam or Survivor Series, or maybe even do one of the Saudi Arabia shows. But then, we went to the main event. Edge came out, got a big pop from the crowd. He got in the ring. He got on the mic, And he goes to speak, and a Edge chant ends up breaking out from the crowd. And it kind of reminded me of when Hulk Hogan, when he returned in 2002, when he returned to SmackDown, and he was trying to say a few words, and the crowd was just, popping for him, couldn't get, any words out. That is how what we saw with Edge tonight. Now, that's in my opinion, though. So Edge ended up saying, that a person, an athlete, and an artist, the reaction that he got at the Rumble, and he says the fans have no idea what it means to him. And he says it's why they do this. He ends up thanking us. Fans end up chanting, you deserve it, and you still got it. And Edge ended up saying, you're damn right I do. Which the fans end up, popping for him again. Edge ended up bringing up the elephant in the room, and he asks, how he's standing here. And Edge went on to talk about, how, he was being medically disqualified from ever getting in the ring again. He ended up saying, 9 years ago, he had to, stop, wrestling. And he says he refused to live in the world of what ifs. He ended up saying that he immediately went to work on making what if, disappear. He says he started to feel good over the years and asked himself, what if he came back home? Which the fans popped for. And the fans end up chanting, welcome home to Edge. And Edge went on about, how he bust his ass and getting, back in the best shape of his life. Because, Edge is 46. He's 46 years old. And he says he could step back into the ring to end his career on his own terms. Which the fans, really popped at also for him. He ended up saying that he found himself at the Royal Rumble. He said he also saw some familiar faces and also some new faces. He names some. He says Randy Orton, which got popped from the crowd. Roman Reigns, which got boos. AJ Styles, which the fans got mixed reaction when Edge announced Styles' name. Seth Rollins, which fans booed. Kevin Owens, Aleister Black, Matt Riddle. Says the list goes on and on. Edge ended up saying, hopefully he sees those guys down the road. And that could be pretty awesome. Seeing dream matches, seeing Edge versus Seth Rollins, Edge versus Styles versus Roman Reigns. Even, if Matt Riddle gets called up to the main roster. That would be cool. Hell, even Aleister Black, of course. Seeing Edge versus Aleister Black, that would be pretty cool. So Edge ends up saying that, he isn't fooling himself. He wants to say he knows this might not last long, and knows it might not last long, but he hopes all the fans join him on the ride. So the fans really like that. They were starting the yes chant, and Edge makes a joke about the yes chant, said that he has to thank Daniel Bryan for his first yes chant. So Edge ends up saying that, he knows he's a little older, he's a little grayer, he has crow's feet. He says it's the roadmap that got him here. He says he's got one thing you can't fabricate and shove down someone's throat unless you have it. Edge ends up saying that he has grit, which the fans really liked. The fans popped again for Edge. And the fan reaction throughout this whole segment was really awesome. You could feel the electricity there from the fans. They were happy to see Edge. I'm happy to see Edge back. But he ends up saying, you knock him down, he gets back up. And so, Randy Orton then comes out. Orton comes into the ring. We had a little Rated RKO, reunion here, especially also in the Rumble last night. Orton comes into the ring. They end up hugging. And Orton ends up saying that, it's no secret that he has somewhat of a self-destructive personality. Worse, when he was younger. And Orton ends up welcoming Edge home. He ends up saying that Edge is a brother and a family, to him. He ended up saying last night, feeling the energy and the chemistry that only they have was special. Orton then went on to say that Edge is out here talking about what ifs. And he has a what if he isn't sure about what Edge or the fans will think about this. Orton then asked, what if we got Rated RKO back together one more time? The fans in the arena went wild, and they were doing a yes chant. It was really loud there, from how it came off on TV. And Edge ends up looking around the arena, ends up nodding at Randy Orton. And then Orton delivers a RKO to Edge, which was crazy. So with Orton delivering the RKO to Edge, fans were booing, and Orton then brings a steel chair in the ring. Edge ends up crawling for the chair, and of course, right here, Randy Orton ended up turning heel, and Orton ended up grabbing the chair. He ends up smacking Edge over the back with it. And Edge was heard, crying, yelling out, in pain from the chair shot. Orton then standed over Edge. Orton ended up dropping the chair. You suck chant from the crowd was breaking out. And Orton then goes back to Edge. Orton grabs the chair. And Orton was shown wrapping the chair around Edge's neck. So Orton goes to, the second rope to the top. Orton takes his time and, he's thinking, should he do this? So Edge still has, the chair around his head. Fans were shown looking worried in the crowd. There were shots of fans, like, is Orton going to do this? So Orton ends up coming down from the turnbuckle, ends up taking the chair off of Edge's neck, tosses the chair to the floor, Orton gets out of the ring, runs over, brings in 2 chairs into the ring. Referee was begging Orton, not to do this to Edge. So Orton then places 1 chair, around Edge's head, or under Edge's head. Stands up, has the other chair in hand, and he swings the chair. Orton swings the chair, smashing Edge's head into the other chair, which looked brutal. So after Orton ended up smashing the chair into Edge's head, the crowd was screaming, asshole. An asshole chant started out. Orton ends up taking a seat, looking at Edge. Edge is laid out. And pretty much that was basically how Monday Night Raw ended tonight. So this ends up setting up Edge versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania. This was a way to get Edge off of TV and, not to see him until WrestleMania. So there you go. We're going to be seeing Edge versus Randy Orton at WrestleMania. But I really loved this segment, this main event. The crowd reaction that Edge got was awesome. Like I said, you could feel the electricity in that arena, with the big pop that he got. And it was emotional. His what Edge had to say was really emotional. And the RKO by Orton to Edge, set up this feud perfectly, or their match that they're going to have at WrestleMania really good. And, it was just, really good segment to close out the show. This segment saved the 3rd hour of the show. After seeing a squash match from Eric Rowan, a meh match from Lana versus Liv Morgan, and another squash match from Mojo Rawley and No Way Jose. Just Edge and Randy Orton here just saved the 3rd hour. Monday Night Raw was a decent show. The first 2 hours, like I said, were enjoyable. 3rd hour wasn't that good, but Edge and Orton ended up saving it. Also, I enjoyed when the Viking Raiders end up coming and taking out AOP. I thought that segment was awesome with Seth Rollins and Buddy Murphy and Kevin Owens and Samoa Joe. But anyways, that's it for the Monday Night Raw review. Thank you all for watching. Hope you all enjoyed this review. And definitely give the video a thumbs up, comment, subscribe. Be sure to check out my Royal Rumble review if you guys haven't checked that out. And until next video, which this week, AEW Dynamite review won't be up on Wednesday. I'll be working Wednesday night. So the AEW Dynamite review will probably be up on Thursday. Or if it's not up on Thursday, it will be up on Friday. There will be no SmackDown review this upcoming Friday, so expect the SmackDown review to be up on Saturday, because I'll be working Friday night. So little change in the schedule for this week. But anyways, that's it for the video, and I will see you all later.